My question is about the drug war. It seems to be empowering the adversaries of the corporatocracy, and if you buy into the corporatocracy, it seems like they wouldn't want to have this drug war. Can you make a comment about how the drug war fits into this?
Are you referring to the drug war in Colombia or the United States or around the world or
Around the world.
around the world? Well, I think in general, that in most foreign countries, the drug war really plays into the hands of the corporatocracy. For example, Colombia, which I know personally very well, the war against drugs there has been used as an excuse to provide huge militaries, private militaries, which we say are being used against drug traffickers, but in fact, in many cases, in most of the cases that I know of, they're being used to protect oil companies and the big pipeline that goes across the Andes. This is also beginning to happen in Ecuador and in Peru, and I suspect in many places around the world. So often the whole drug war idea is an excuse to get money into the hands of paramilitaries that are, in fact, defending corporate interests.
How about the Taliban?
What about them?
In Afghanistan, the poppies are higher than before the Taliban were there, and
You mean higher priced?
higher production.
Oh, higher production. Well, yeah, but of course, during a period of time, all that poppy production was destroyed. Now, poppies are not a problem for the people of Afghanistan. They're a source of income. And, the people there would make the point that if we want to get rid of our drug problems in this country, we need to do that, but not at the expense of their primary crop. That point has also been made in Bolivia. It's one of the things that Evo Morales ran on, is that the United States was implementing a policy to destroy the coca plants there. And coca is a very important product in Bolivia, not just for cocaine, but for many, many different medicinal uses. I've used it often in the Andes for altitude sickness, for example. It has no connection to cocaine. And the people of Bolivia are saying, why should the United States destroy one of our primary crops because the U.S. has a drug problem? We don't have that problem here. We need the coca plant. Thanks. Yeah.
Hello. Sorry.
Hi.
Can everybody hear me? And not to make you or anyone in the room feel old, but my mother's water broke in one of those gas station lines in the 19th. Totally making that up. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, really? That's such a beautiful story.
My father and I have both just finished your book, and I remember being a teenager. I remember growing up and going on and on in debates with him about, the world's so messed up. What can I do about it? And him suggesting, you should get out there, you should march, you should do whatever. And then we recently had the same conversation, and I'm not saying it's a direct result of your book. And I said the same complaints, and he said, and I said, anytime someone stands up, King, Torrijos, Malcolm X, Kennedy's, they die. So what's the point? Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, you're probably right. And I'm not. My point is, your book is so powerful in showing how powerful the corporatocracy is. And how do you turn around right after reading it and say, I'm going to do something? Is the Peace Corps really effective anymore? Can you really make long-term impact
Yes.
without them winning, basically?
It's an extremely important question that you've asked here. And it's why I say I think that the way to turn this around is that we have to take away the power base, which is the corrupt use of corporations, what I would like to call the corrupt use of corporations. Because assassination has been incredibly important. It's been important in this. I had a jackal. I met with one just a couple of months ago since this book came out, and he pointed out to me that assassination has also been very important in the United States. Jack Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, think of all the black movement people, including Martin Luther King, John Lennon. A lot of senators have died in airplane crashes, not just Wellstone that everybody knows about. And in fact, it serves to scare people that are thinking about doing something for reform. And Latin America, as I mentioned earlier, sent this very strong message. Only we can change that. The Latin Americans have sent a strong message. They have these presidents now who are having tremendous pressure. We here in the United States must stand up to our government and our corporations and say, you have to honor those democracies. It doesn't matter if they want to get the money from the oil for their own people. We've got to honor them. We've got to insist upon this. We must stand up and insist upon it. It's the leaders, in most cases, who will be assassinated or threatened, but all of us need to stand up and put our arms around, form circles, literal circles, and emotional and figurative circles around these people and protect them. And some will be assassinated. I'm often asked if I fear for my life in this process. And the question is, it's almost irrelevant to me because I'm 60, I'm about to turn 61. I have a 23-year-old daughter. I did some awful things in this world. I helped to create this situation. I don't know how many days I've got left or years before I'm lying on my deathbed. It could end tonight. But what I do know is when I'm on that deathbed, I want to look back and say, I did everything I could to turn this around, to have retribution against myself, in fact, to redeem myself and to make this a better world. We must be courageous. We mustn't fear. Doing nothing is the most dangerous thing of all. Think of our heroes in history, all these men that surround us in this city, Tom Paine and Jefferson and Washington, all of them stuck their heads in nooses. And we come from a tremendous tradition, and we see war monuments there that say freedom depends upon our soldiers fighting in Germany during World War II, which it did, and it also depends on us now being willing to risk our lives. You must be willing to risk your life. You and I and all of us must be willing to risk our lives for a bigger cause, as long as we know we truly believe in that cause. Thank you.
Do us all a favor and stay off of private jets. Don't give them a cover story, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had the privilege of reading your book last year in a graduate course in development economics. I thought you should know that's being read on college campuses for that purpose.
Great.
And maybe it was because I read too much theory, but I really, really enjoyed the writing, and I enjoyed the flow of it, and I think it would make a great screenplay. So I don't know if you're thinking about that, or if any of you here who are thinking of buying the book. It's a great read just for the read, as well as for the message, and I hope to see it someday on the big screen.
Thank you. A film company has bought the rights, and a major actor who I'm not supposed to mention right now, but bears a slight resemblance to me, I've been told, is behind that. So, but who knows what'll happen, And back to the young man that was before you, I just wanted to mention that nobody invites me to ride on private jets anymore.
Hello, everyone hear me? I just want to say that I really enjoyed your book. Read it last year, couldn't wait. Heard you on Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman, and had to pick up the book. And I have a two-pronged question. The first question is about Hugo Chavez, and how do you, I don't know if you know him personally, but how do you think he's dealing with the stress, and how much stress do you might you know about that he's going through? Because, I mean, even Pat Robertson has a target on him, so we know he's in trouble. And the second prong is the fact about the media's complicity and the fact that a lot of people just don't know how much we do.
Yeah. Great questions, both of them. Hugo Chavez, he's read the book too, and it's in Spanish, it's in 20 other languages now. And he's contacted me, asked me to be on television with him. I didn't go for some other reasons, but and I don't approve of a lot of things Hugo Chavez does. He's not, but he's a democratically elected president, and he's very, very popular. He's winning huge mandates, and he's standing up to us, and he's doing some great things, and he's financing some amazing movements in Latin America too. Argentina just dropped all of its debt to the IMF, paid it all off, $10 billion, because they didn't want to be beholden to the IMF anymore, and instead Hugo Chavez is absorbing that debt. He's giving them the money to move forward. I think tremendously of him in that regard. And I think he's got enormous pressure under him. There's no question in my mind that he would be dead by now were it not for Iraq and Afghanistan. We tried to overthrow him, as I'm sure you know, in 2003. We did for about 48 hours or so. But he's very, very popular. He came back. At that point, under the classic system that we have, we would have sent in a much stronger force to do away with him. But because we were so extended in Iraq and Afghanistan, we couldn't. In addition, these 6 other Latin American countries. So in addition to Venezuela, we've got Argentina, Uruguay, Chile, Brazil, Ecuador, Bolivia. I think that's 7, is it? Anyway, who have all standing together now. And Brazil is important because it's one of the world's major economies and one of the world's major weapons producers. And these countries now have all formed pacts to protect each other. They've all said that if any one of them is attacked by us in any way, they will stand together. And in a way, the war in Iraq has given them the opportunity to do this because it's kept us at bay long enough for them to form these alliances. What's going on in Latin America today, I think, is incredibly significant, and we all ought to listen to it and pay attention and demand of all of our leaders, corporate and political, that they defend those democracies. Thanks for asking that. And the second question was about the media. The media is repulsive, you know. I mean, it just doesn't get the word out, the mainstream media. The reporters are all afraid.